Yo everyone, my name is Lakesh and today I'm going to teach you one of the most daunting tenses in French grammar, the past subjunctive, aka the perfect subjunctive. In order to learn the past subjunctive, you need to know a large range of grammar. You need to know the present tense, the present subjunctive, the past tense, and also you need to know when to use the present subjunctive and how to recall examples of its usage. There's a lot of grammar concepts there you need to know fluently. If there's a grammar concept there which you're feeling a bit shady on, what I strongly recommend you to do is just pause this video, go find a video relevant to that grammar concept, and go review it and go master it. Then when you feel that you have mastered all these grammar concepts, come back to this video and we'll crack on. Let's just quickly review how do we use the present subjunctive. So there's the definition of the subjunctive, a tense which is used to express emotions possibility. So here's the subjunctive layout we're familiar with from the subjunctive video. Before the cur, we always conjugate in present tense, and after the cur, we conjugate in the subjunctive. The phrase before the cur must be in the present and it must also express emotions or possibility. Using the past subjunctive is actually quite similar because still talking about emotions and possibility, still same layout. The phrase before the cur is still in the present tense, however the phrase after the cur is in the perfect subjunctive. That is because the phrase after the cur has already happened. It's an event that has occurred in the past. So that is the only difference between using the present subjunctive and the past subjunctive. Use the past subjunctive to express emotions and possibility about an event that has already occurred. That's the only real difference. So now I'm going to show you how do we actually conjugate the past subjunctive of a verb. Let's just quickly review how we conjugate a verb in the past tense, because conjugating a verb in past tense is surprisingly similar to conjugating a verb in the past subjunctive. Let's say if we want to translate this phrase, I have drank, ask yourself which verb is this talking about? It's talking about the verb to drink, which is boire. Boire is a non-Mrs. van der Tram verb, so we're going to have to use the present of avoir. The pronoun here is je, so we're going to have to use the present of avoir in the je form, which is j'ai. So that's the first half of our conjugation. The second half of our conjugation is going to be past participle. Boire, sadly, isn't a regular verb, so we just have to recall the unique past participle for boire, which is bout. We don't add agreements. That should be really familiar to you. Now, past subjunctive. Conjugating a verb in the past subjunctive is the exact same as conjugating a verb in the past, except instead of the present of avoir être, you're conjugating the subjunctive of avoir être. So let's take this phrase, I have drank. If we want to conjugate that in the past subjunctive, you're going to have to ask yourself, what verb is this translation involving? Boire, which is the French verb to drink. Boire isn't a Mrs. van der Tram verb, so we're going to have to use the subjunctive of avoir. Pronoun here is je, so we're going to have to use the je form of the subjunctive of avoir, which is j'ai. So that's the first half of the conjugation done. The second half of our conjugation is the past participle. Boire, sadly, isn't a regular verb, so we're going to have to use the irregular past participle for boire, which is we don't add agreements because boire is in an être verb, it is in a Mrs. van der Tram verb. If you've been paying close attention, what you would have noticed is that conjugating a verb in the past tense is the exact same as conjugating a verb in the past subjunctive, except when you're conjugating a verb in the past subjunctive, you're conjugating the subjunctive of avoir or être instead of the present of avoir or être like you're used to in the past tense. Let's go through a few more examples. So she has arrived. We want to conjugate she has arrived in the past subjunctive. It involves the verb arriver, which is the French translation of to arrive. Arrive is a Mrs. van der Tram verb. It's one of the A's in Mrs. van der Tram, so we have to get the subjunctive of être. The pronoun this involves is she, which is elle in French. The elle form of the subjunctive of être is elle soit. So that's the first half of our conjugation done. The second half of our conjugation, we're going to have to form the past participle of arrive. Arrive is fortunately a regular verb, so we can use these regular past participle conjugation rules. Arrive is an ER verb, so we chop off the ER and we add an E accent. And then you also have to add the E because arrive is a Mrs. van der Tram verb, it's an être verb, and the pronoun is feminine, so you have to add an E as well. Thank you very much, and I hope that this video has gone a long way in helping you understand the past subjunctive. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck with your French studies.